As 2024 crosses the finish line, it is time to look back at what has happened in sim racing and racing games this year. And what a year it has been. We have seen some pretty significant storylines, not just in terms of big releases or updates, but also big shifts in the sim racing industry. And before we start, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you all. To the many viewers who have remained loyal to our community this year or joined us for the very first time, whether on the website or here on YouTube, and who make Overtake possible in the first place. Thank you so much. And thanks Yannick for compiling this huge overview. Let's jump right back to January 2024. Welcome back to Overtake, I'm Michel, and already on January 3 of this year, Kunos Simulazioni confirms the KTM Crossbow GT2 as the fifth car for its upcoming GT2 Pack DLC within Assetto Corsa Competizione, which later releases on January 24. The pack is well received, but interest drops again in favor of the omnipresent GT3 class soon afterwards. That was not all for Kunos in January though, as longtime head of vehicle handling and R&D Aris Vasilakos, also known as Aris, resigns from the Italian studio, stating that after 20 years in sim racing, it was time to move on. Meanwhile, PlayStation racer Gran Turismo Sport is delisted from the store on January 4th without prior notice. The title's end of online service on January 31st was known already, however, the removal from the PlayStation Store was not. While one title was going out, another is revealed for the first time. Marcel Offermans, previously in charge of rFactor 2, first shares his The Last Garage project on January 9, aiming to create a new sim racing platform with a highly capable physics engine. Then iRacing announces on January 11 the return of its Indy 500 special event for May 2024. In 23, it had not taken place as iRacing did not have a licensing deal in place to hold the popular race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The first on-site event also happens early on in 2024, with Sim Formula Europe opening its doors at MECC Maastricht from January 11 to 14. The expo sees Track Racer announce its own peripherals and Jernej Simončić win the on-site competition, among other things. A fairly calm month follows, although the big story of February is clearly Le Mans Ultimate. The official WEC game was set to release on February 20, which it does, but in early access rather than in full. Following a long period of radio silence, publisher Motorsport Games announces this change on February 1 and soon starts showing previews of the game containing the full 2023 WEC season. And once LMU releases, it's relatively bare bones, so the decision to go early access was probably preferable over an undercooked full release. Despite this, we find that the title did some things well already, even early on in its life cycle. March was a major month for the sim racing year 2024. Most exciting release, iRacing Season 2, including the Tempest weather system that changed the biggest sim racing service forever, with probably the most sophisticated rain system we have in sim racing right now. Additionally, Razer Studios announced a key element of its eventually enormous version 1.6 update, having signed a license agreement with IMSA for Automobilista 2. RaceRoom would continue its content drops with the Circuit de Pauville, and RENNSPORT, still in closed beta at the time, reveals a roadmap. But at the very end of the month, the first domino in what would become arguably the biggest story in sim racing 2024 falls. Endor AG, the company behind sim racing hardware brand Fanatec, announces that the CEO and founder Thomas Jackemeyer is dismissed from his role. This is a key condition set by the landing banks for the extension of the standstill agreement until June 30, 2024, according to their chief financial officer. Next month, what would have been an extremely elaborate April Fool's prank on Kunos Simulazioni's part, especially considering how it had become a meme in the sim racing community, actually turns out to be true. Nürburgring Nordschleife is released for Assetto Corsa Competizione. Kunos also uses this occasion for a clever bit of marketing for the upcoming sim. Still referred to as Assetto Corsa 2 at that point by scanning a QR code that would show up on some of the video walls and advertisement banners around the newly released version of the Nordschleife, players are taken to a website that confirmed the actual name of the successor to be Assetto Corsa EVO. The next chapter in the Fanatec Endor saga, meanwhile, sees Andreas Ruff appointed as new CEO of his company on April 19. His first task: tackle delivery issues that have annoyed customers since at least late 2023 and starting to talk to potential investors. Also in April, EA Sports WRC finally receives a beta VR implementation. May 2024 was also full of sim racing stories, but its biggest one took arguably its biggest turn. On May 9, US-based PC hardware and peripheral giant Corsair emerges as the front runner to buy Endor AG. Then there were several launches. F1 24 officially hits the shelves on 28th of May, and parts of the community are not thrilled. Concerns about the game's handling model, which will soon be patched. And MotoGP 24 also releases. Then the Ford Mustang GT3 arrives in Assetto Corsa Competizione for free, and Max Verstappen wins both the iRacing Nürburgring 24 Hours and the real-life F1 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix in Imola on the same weekend. The story that stands out the most in June 2024 is related to Assetto Corsa EVO. The upcoming sim Steam page goes online on June 27, including system specs and the first batch of screenshots. The original Assetto Corsa is not doing too bad either. On June 23, Assetto Corsa sets a new all-time concurrent player peak record on Steam. Just in time for the 2024 24 Hours of Le Mans Ultimate releases its first big update that also includes content on June 10, bringing the BMW M Hybrid V8 to all players for free. Meanwhile, GT Revival announces that it will change its name and publisher on June 18, but does not share any further details yet. As we get to tag along for a track event at Silverstone with developer Straight 4 Studios, we have to sit on the news for about a month. What else happened in June? IndyCar secures the assets of its work-in-progress game from Motorsport Games following a settlement. Corsair announces its first sim racing rig. PSVR 2 is made compatible with PC systems via a new official adapter, and MOZA Racing launches the R3 bundle, and we had a public hands-on event at our office in Cologne, which was also well received and a lot of fun. So we got another 6 months to go. If you enjoyed the video so far, we'd be grateful for a like and of course a free subscription to the channel, plus hit that bell so you don't miss our videos in 2025. If you expected a summer break in sim racing, July was not the month for you. Right out of the gate, the battle for Fanatec and Endor enters its next chapter. A string of comments supposedly made by ex-CEO Thomas Jackermeier surfaces in the Wall Street online forums, harshly criticizing the impending Corsair takeover. At this point, it also becomes clear that Corsair owns several Fanatec design trademarks and patents already as a collateral against the payment to stabilize the company, as it emerges a day later. On that same day, it also emerges that Corsair owns the Fanatec brand too. Much more happened then. You can watch our video from early August, which goes into more detail about the Fanatec and Corsair saga. In more positive business-related news, Straight 4 Studios announces GT Revival's name change to Project Motor Racing, alongside a new publishing deal with Giant Software, known for their farming simulator franchise. RENNSPORT, meanwhile, also took a step forward. On July 3, developer Competition Company announces an open beta update to the sim, including also the Nordschleife and GT4 cars. What else happened in July? Fan favorite track Eiger Nordwand returns to the franchise in Gran Turismo 7, and Richard Burns Rally turns 20 years old. Wow. EA Sports WRC adds the controversial anti-cheat software and reveals a development roadmap for ongoing updates. So there won't be an EA Sports WRC 2 that early, but they keep just developing the game that is right now. August is Gamescom month, and the biggest gaming fair in the world also has interesting things in store for sim racers starting on August 21. Immediately when doors opened, MOZA R3 steals the headlines by unveiling their own version of an active pedal, tech that so far has been exclusive to Simocube. The manufacturer also shows its first ever licensed steering wheel in Cologne, that being the Porsche Mission R steering wheel. And after a period of silence regarding new content, RaceRoom re-enters the sim racing stage on August 18, teasing the Alfa Romeo 155 V6 Ti as well as a historic track. And just days later it emerges that both the Alfa and the Opel Calibra V6 4x4 will be added to the sim to complete the DTM 95 grid. KW Studios also announces that it will add the first ever historic tracks to RaceRoom, those being the Avos, Diepholz and Classic Hockenheim. The content accompanies a milestone update that also improves the sim's graphics and performance. And we should not forget that Pista Motorsport becomes available in early access. Drama again in September. Those who are waiting for Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown are bitterly disappointed. First, developer Kite Racing goes on strike just days before the release, and then September 5 rolls around and those who pre-ordered the Gold Edition are supposed to be able to play early, but cannot. Server and service problems for the always online title means that issues plague TDUSC, with many unable to play at all during the first weekend and even beyond. While KT Racing and Nacon are trying to rein in the TDU issues, the saga surrounding Endor and Fanatec comes to an end. After months of uncertainty about the company, Corsair acquires Endor AG on September 14, but opts to continue with the Fanatec brand for sim racing products. Almost 2 weeks later, on September 27, Kunos announces that the early access launch of Assetto Corsa is delayed until 2025. What else happened? Logitech unveils its first new sim racing hardware since the G Pro Racing Wheel in 2022, and BeamNG Drive receives big update 0.33. October, the month of the Sim Racing Expo in Dortmund, Germany, and therefore many industry news. We played and streamed Assetto Corsa EVO for the first time and interviewed the developers, and the open world was confirmed by then. Many hardware manufacturers also unveiled new products. Some example being the SimLab DD wheelbases, the Thrustmasters T598, new Fanatec gear like the Handbrake V2, Simocube Active Pedals Pro, Azatec's Invicta button box, the MOZA Lambo wheel, and many more. Meanwhile, EA Sports WRC receives its 2024 season expansion, letting rally fans tackle the new locations, Poland, Latvia, and if you switch out one letter in WRC, you get WEC, which is what Le Mans Ultimate is all about, but the restructuring of its publisher that also owns the developer studio 397 Motorsport Games continues. In early October, it emerges that MSG Motorsport Games is looking for either an investor or a buyer. Work on the sim itself continues. What happened in November? Jimmy Broadbent's Race for Mental Health 6 raised over £90,000 for the Mind charity, with us participating in a V8 Supercars Ford Mustang. RaceRoom releasing its DTM 2024 pack after some delay, and then Automobilista 2 version 1.6 finally arrives, elevating Racer Studio Sim to new heights when it comes to player numbers. The new version left almost no stone unturned, introducing new IMSA content as well as Audi and Lamborghini as manufacturers, and revitalizing the multiplayer via the integration in beta with low fuel motorsport. Still well populated. René and I were racing LFMSA all day long yesterday. December, the final month of 2024, starts out in an intense way, to say the least. Not one, not two, but 3 sims receive big updates on December 10, with Le Mans Ultimate adding the first few 2024 LMGT3 cars and Interlagos RaceRoom debuting its Super Touring cars as well as classic Silverstone and Estoril, and iRacing rolling out its Season 1 2025 update already. Controversy about the inaccuracies of its GTP cars included. Around the same time, we were in Amsterdam for the Gran Turismo World Series finals. Yeah, congrats to our friend Takuma Miyazono for winning the Nations Cup. What a legend. Then Kunos decides to go all in for it with the announcement of the open world that is going to be in AC EVO, being set in the Eifel region here in Germany, yeah, with a 40 by 40 kilometer map, so yeah, 1,600 square kilometers. And yeah, Marco Massaruto himself dropped a lot of information on our live stream Q&A session, such as the entirety of the open world map being drivable, that it's coming in summer, and yeah, also details about AI and multiplayer mode and so on. Yeah, RENNSPORT leaves the open beta status for early access, although its content pricing model is not received positively in a large part of the community. The sim will also be part of the esports World Cup. This marks the end of a flurry of news in the sim racing and racing game year of 2024. But make no mistake, there will be more in January of 2025 already. AC EVO is set to launch into early access on January 16, and on the same day, Sim Formula Europe opens its doors again for the first big on-site event of the year for the sim racing community. Yeah, we had a few more points on the list that you can find in a written article on Overtake.gg. This will come in 2 parts, the first being there today. And yeah, let us know if we have missed something, and also let us know in the comments what was your sim racing or racing game highlight of 2024. Have you been following all the stories? Yeah, so now enjoy the last hours of 2024, and as we say in Germany, guten Rutsch.